Nicola Sturgeon's major independents missteps have been picked apart, with the SNP standing accused of spending too much time worrying about Brexit. Former Scottish Justice Secretary Kenny MacAskill said the Scottish government is wasting too much time focusing on the wrong fights, including Brexit and Boris Johnson's premiership. A supporter of Scottish independence himself, he said the time of nationalists would be better spent persuading voters about the perks of his country choosing its own destiny. Mr. MacAskill wrote in The Scotsman that the SNP has become distracted from its stated aims. One area where he believed this was most obvious was Brexit. An opponent of Brexit, Mr. MacAskill said Scotland, as a part of the UK, had been dragged out of the EU against its will. But the way to respond to this was, in his view, to further push the cause of Scottish independence. Instead, the Alba Party MP claimed Ms Sturgeon and other leading SNP officials had expended their energy on trying to keep England in the EU. Mr. MacAskill wrote, "They decided to try and save England from itself. Efforts went into reversing Brexit in England, rather than mobilising Scotland to assert its democracy." Independence rallies north of the border were shunned, while events south of it with arch-unionists were lapped up. He added, "Who cares where they stood in 2014 or what they thought of Indy, putting their shoulder to the British wheel was all." Attempting to keep England in the EU rather than putting that energy into campaigning more for Scottish independence was not the only area the SNP was scolded for acting in a futile and distracted manner. Mr. MacAskill said that, more recently, Ms Sturgeon, along with Ian Blackford, leader of the SNP in the House of Commons, had wasted too much effort on trying to remove Boris Johnson from the office of Prime Minister. Mr. MacAskill had no pleasant words for the Tory leader, who he branded a total charlatan and the worst Prime Minister since the early 19th century. But he insisted that removing Mr. Johnson from office was not a major battle for Scots. He argued that, instead, the focus should have been on creating an independent Scottish state. Mr. MacAskill was a prominent member of the SNP until he left to join Alex Salmond's Alba Party in March 2021. The SNP, quoted in the BBC, said at the time this was somewhat of a relief. Ms Sturgeon is agitating for a second Scottish independence referendum, though this was ruled out by Mr Johnson in November. The SNP has been approached for comment,